Welcome. Thanks everyone for being here today. Yeah, I guess this is the very first Ordinals panel of NFT Paris, so that's really exciting. I'm gonna go ahead and kick it off with some introductions. I'm here with some absolute legends in this space. I'm so honored to be moderating the panel today. My name is Elizabeth Olson. I'm head of marketing for Bitcoin at Magic Eden, which is the top NFT marketplace, and we're actively building out a trading app to support all chains, all assets. And we also have a wallet and recently launched ME token. So yeah, maybe we'll just go ahead and go down the line. Would love to hear, I think each of you have just come from very different places in the space. It's just so many unique areas to come in and have a really interesting story. So I think in addition to introducing yourself, maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you entered the space in the first place.
Hi guys, BJ, bonjour. I'm Hills from the Bitcoin Puppets. I'm community lead. I have been in crypto for an embarrassingly long time for my portfolio. Essentially, I somehow ended up here just by pure luck of being great friends with the artist of the Bitcoin Puppets, LeFou. So I'm here to represent us.
Is LeFou French, Passions?
No, he's not. He's Dutch.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice, thank you. My name is Henry. I'm with Oniforce, which was the first anime PFP project in the space on ETH. We've now expanded to have a collection on Bitcoin, so we're like the first multi-chain anime PFP, I suppose. And the way I got into space was in 2021 from Clubhouse, and but really the reason why I got into the space was because I've always worked with artists, and I've always worked at the intersection of art and technology. And when I learned how smart contracts work, that's when I started drinking the Kool-Aid. I was like, oh my God, like we're gonna change the world. Like artists are finally gonna have like a life, and you know. Obviously, royalties died in that change, but but that's basically what brought me in, was just trying to support artists and build creative things.
Hi, I'm Darth Vader. Sorry, I'm Ray. I lost my voice. So I'm Ray from 16 years ago, my co-founder and I started a company called NiGet, which is the biggest meme sharing platform on earth. We have about like 200 million audience across the world. About like 3 years ago, we started a Web3 company called Memeland. And then we launched 3 NFT collections. We launched a token called Meme Coin, which is like actually meme if you search on the exchange. And then recently we just helped one of the OG meme guys called Hi the Pink Haro to launch the biggest pre-sale on Solana as well. Yeah, so basically we share memes before Satoshi created Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, Ray. You've been in really the meme space since 2008 when you launched.
Too long. Yeah, too long.
Too long. He basically, we're here in this room with the person who invented memes, who understood memes way before anyone else did. In 2008, you launched 9gag, which is absolutely insane. Can you tell us, like, you know, bridging into the Web3 space, what was your sort of aha moment where you're like, oh, like we can create NFTs out of memes? There can be really great synergy here. When did you start to dive, you know, make that connection from memes into Web3?
I bought my first NFT literally 1,001 days ago. So it's like 3 years ago. Yeah, and down bad. Yeah, but I also bought a lot of NFTs afterwards. So the aha moment is, hey, how come all these NFT communities, they talk about community, but they're pretty shitty, right? But we have been building life for memes and stuff for such a long time. If they could start a company in Web3, why couldn't I? Yeah, that's why my co-founder and I decided, hey, maybe we should expand what we do in Web3 as well. Yeah, but of course, I didn't get in touch with Web3 because of NFT. But I bought like some token, right, back in like 2021 or something like that. I'm totally not OG. I'm old but not OG. Yeah, so I'm very new
But he
in
looks
Web3,
young.
learning every single day. Yeah.
I don't know, OG certainly when it comes to our founder of memes here. So why did you decide to go the NFT route rather than the token route? Now you're going the token route. We're on the cusp of launching Pain. So Pain token just had a pre-sale. It is the largest pre-sale in Sol meme coin history at $40 million that people sent to this address to get into the pre-sale in 2 days. And this is amidst the time when the crypto market is liquidating. It's absolutely insane what you guys have accomplished here. It's just incredible. And I'm just kind of curious, why now? Why not before? And also maybe tell us a little bit about Pain as well, the meme. I wish we could show a photo, but you guys probably recognize this old guy that's kind of like holding a mug, and this like white hair, kind of like Max Payne look. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. First of all, we didn't launch Pain. We helped Haros and team to launch Pain, right? So don't kidnap me. I don't have $40 million with me.
Legal.
Kidnap Haro. He's in Hungary, so it's like
I don't know how
not too
I
far
got
away.
here.
So for us, why we started with NFT, right? Because I think I didn't understand what's the point of crypto, right, in the early days. Yeah, because okay, I understand Bitcoin, understand ETH, but all these other meme coin, they're totally useless. Why would someone so stupid enough to buy it, right? That's why I didn't understand it. That's why, meanwhile for NFT, I kind of understand it. The moment that Twitter, they were still called Twitter, to start to support like NFT as a PFP. So you can verify it as a octagon or something like that, right? To show that you actually own that. Right? At that moment, I was like, oh shit. A lot of guys, they spend tons of money on buying Lambo. A lot of ladies spend tons of money buying an MS, right? But you only can show your MS and Lambo to like 100 people, like every day at most. But if you show it on your PFP, you can literally show it to millions of people every single day. I think NFT is a very good flex, at least at that time, right? Right now, people think that you're stupid, right? But that was the moment that, oh shit, NFT actually is useful, right? That's why we started with NFT. And of course, the more we learn, the more we fail, right? The more that we understand that maybe NFT is a good way to start the community. But if we actually want to reach more people, we actually expand from NFT as well. We have a theory internally. We call it NFT is for building community. Token is good for distributing the value. And product is good to reach the masses, right? So we've done the NFT, we launched a token. And then right now we're building products, right? So that we can bridge like Web 2 and Web 3. Yeah.
Yeah, fascinating. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how that continues to develop, and maybe we'll continue to convince you in our communities and excitement around NFTs.
It's fine. I'm convinced, right? Okay. 80% of my net worth is on crypto, right? So I'm down bad. Yeah, but again, that's why don't kidnap me. Yeah, I know that Paris is not the safest place on earth right now. Yeah, but again, I think I really believe in it. Because of NICAP, we actually work with a lot of foreign companies, right? Every time we need to send money, it takes so long, so much work, right? But right now in crypto, have a wallet address, you send it, right? Even if you're using ETH, worst case, you get it in a few minutes, right? So, I mean, Bitcoin maybe take more time. But yeah. I think ultimately, that is like game changing. That's why I believe in it, despite the price action, yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's a really good point you made earlier about how when you have NFTs, it's something that can reach so many more people digitally. And now with tokens, I think it was actually Murad who said something along the lines of tokens is in difference to NFTs is you can have so many more people that have exposure to this because you can get in at a much more marginal price point. And so therefore you have more people, more community, more people shilling the community and the project. So yeah, it's really interesting. So Starlordy would love to chat with you also around IP. So our panel name up here is Memes, IP, Anime. Who's going to win? I know you've
been... Anime always wins.
IP and anime synergy. Let's see. I feel like they're all kind of overlapping in their different ways, but how do you think about IP? What does IP mean to you? Because I think it might be kind of a little bit esoteric when we think about it. It can mean so many different things, and maybe we just start with that as like a little definitions here. Put us into your perspective.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, actually, kind of similar to Ray, like in 2021, I had that aha moment when people were changing their PFPs, because what it made me realize is that at the end of the day, like, we're an avatar species. Like, our entire identities are really just like a collection of the stories that we consume that come from IP, from our families or communities, that sort of stuff. And really, like, that PFP, like when you decide to wear it as a badge of your identity, it's like kind of representing who you are, your values, what you believe in. Like if you see somebody with a Milady PFP versus like a Bored Ape versus, you know, a puppet, you know, whatever, it's like it implies the values that you might hold or what type of community that you really believe in. And so I realized, like, at the end of the day, like, IP and storytelling is the way that we not just express ourselves, but the way that we exist, you know? Like, I think that story is code for the brain, you know? It's like, it's the operating system that our brain runs on. Like, everything we do is filtered through some sort of story we tell ourselves, like who we are, what we deserve, like what our dreams are, you know? And so I think, you know, with Oniforce, the way we look at IP, it's like, trying to go beyond just that and try to have a positive effect on society, because the other thing that I noticed is that, you know, as technology grows, your identity and your brain gets more fragmented. You know, like if you're on LinkedIn versus Instagram versus Facebook, or in person, like you're kind of a different person on all those platforms. You know, you have a different persona or a different part of yourself. And what I noticed, especially for youth, is that fragmentation before your brain has even really matured has led to a lot of tangible problems such as depression, anxiety. You know, you have kids as young as 3 years old now reporting anxiety and depression, you know, which is like crazy to me. You know, when I was 3, it's like that's not even a concept that you should understand. And so I feel like personally, like IP in the future has more of a responsibility to society to try and help people develop, you know, at least for Oniforce, you know. And so it's kind of like, you know, the thing I love about blockchain and AI and all the future technologies that are coming out is like, it actually gives you an opportunity to make an impact. So for instance, like if I'm playing a video game, right, and it's AI powered, it will know if I'm acting erratically or if I'm, you know, anxious or depressed, and you know, it could build a relationship with me. And so, like, let's say I'm playing a video game, like the villain that I'm fighting against could represent my anxiety, and then through the course of defeating that villain, hopefully you could actually gain real-world skills to deal with anxiety in your real life, you know, that sort of stuff. So I think technology is really interesting because it gives and it takes away, you know, and so I think the people who build the technology have to decide what they're doing, you know, like with Facebook, there was that whole moment where people realized like, oh, like this platform that we thought was a way to connect, like also like destabilized America, you know, like, so it's kind of like, I think in the Web 2 era, I think the people who were building those products were just so profit-minded that they consciously made decisions that they knew were harmful to the people consuming it, right? Because they just want more engagement, more clicks, more numbers. And we could see the results, you know, 10 years later, 15 years later. And so I hope that, because IP is the way to get someone to easily participate through storytelling. And so I hope, like, when you have IP plus intention plus technology, you can actually have more of an impact on society.
And I think you already slightly touched on this, but just to dive a little bit deeper, IP, for example, we have like Pudgy Penguins and, you know, working with Walmart, and we've seen a big success there, very tangible. What direction are you planning, you know, are you headed towards with Oni One and anime? You know, where do you see that going?
Yeah, I think definitely for us, you know, similar to Pudgy Penguins, obviously our plan as IP is to expand into Web 2, you know, to launch, like, I have like brought these comic books, which I'll give away to some of the people here if you guys want. And so, like, you know, we want to have that moment where our IP and our products live in the outside world, outside of this bubble. But really, again, going back to like that early point is like, how do you impact society? Is I actually think that that's like just the very tip of the iceberg. I think what we're really doing is we're building a decentralized creative network state. You know, like when I first got into blockchain and I saw how smart contracts work and stuff, like I kind of realized like in an ideal world, you could create a new society, you know, like where artists are supported, where healthcare is provided for artists, where, you know, everybody who contributes on every level is rewarded, whether you're a creator or a community member or an investor. You know, I always made this joke when I first got into Web3, which was like, what's better than Disney? It's a Disney that pays you, right? Like, seriously, because we spend like our whole lives like supporting these brands. Like now with IP, it's like whether it's Star Wars, Marvel, that sort of stuff. It's like you go from diaper to the casket, like as a fan of IP and representing IP. But like really, like in Web 2, like do they see you as a community? Do they see you as a family member? Like no, like they just, as long as you're buying the product, that's all they care about. You know, they don't actually give back in any tangible way. And that's why I think with blockchain and crypto and stuff, you can actually create that infrastructure where it has that virtuous flywheel, you know? And so I think with Oniforce, the way we look at the Web 2 development and distribution, that's just like literally the top of the funnel to onboard people. And then hopefully as you keep giving them rewards while you're going through that funnel, then not only do they become lifelong fans, but actually you build a community where you can participate in supporting each other.
Yeah, and that's such a good point. There was a documentary that came out kind of recently called The Social Dilemma, and I think it kind of speaks to something quite similar here, where we realize, you know, we're getting fed ads, and in reality, it's like they're paying for our eyeballs, for our time that we're ingesting these ads, but do we get paid for that time that we're giving to them? No, and so it's going to be really interesting how that might shift with IP. So yeah, thanks for diving into that. At Hills, BJ Hills.
BJ.
If you guys don't know, Puppets community. How many people are aware of Puppets or have a puppet or Puppets fans? Let's go. BJ, everyone. BJ. You have built one of the most die-hard communities in the space, just like out of nothing. You guys just came out of like nowhere and boom, like took over. And it's just been incredible to see how the community has grown over the past year or so. When did Puppets came out exactly? It was
So Opium
here.
came out 2 years ago.
2 years.
So,
It's wild.
so
It's
1
wild.
year for Puppets.
Wow. Yeah, it's just been wild to see how everything has grown. I would be curious to know, like, how do you see the community and community building? How does that lend itself in terms of the sustainability of the project as a whole? How does community impact that exactly?
I mean, if I can circle back a little bit to IP, something that a lot of people don't realize is that the Bitcoin Puppets were released under viral public license. So it's very relevant to this discussion in the sense that our community is our team. Like, there is no team, I love you. So essentially, literally anyone on the planet could come forward and make merch if they wanted to do a cartoon, you know, a comic book, literally anything you wanted to do, as long as you're open with your project and let other people build and expand upon that. So essentially, that's what allowed us to get to this point, this ridiculous point with $0 in our treasury, and I'm on this stage, you know, somehow speaking about this in this relevant situation. Essentially, I think what's going to happen eventually is a Luca or one of these people that has the funds and the means and the ability and the drive is going to take the IP and push it and really push it out in front of, you know, a wider audience. But essentially, the only reason anyone knows about us is because of the memes and our presence on the timeline. Like, we have essentially the most deranged group of degens that work for free for us, for ourselves, just for shits and giggles. So,
Yeah, the most insane content creators, and that's what's so fantastic is that you've made this IP available to anyone, and you've been seeing like the merch come out. We had some incredible merch during Art Basel Miami. We've been seeing some really fantastic videos and music videos and things come through. Yeah, do you see that, like, do you think that can continue on its own, or does, like, how do you draw the line between that and like having a core, figurehead leader. We have like Frank with D-Gods, we have Luca with Pudgy leading the IP, and to a degree we do have you and LeFou leading puppets, and then of course the Rune side. But yeah, how do you see, like, where is that line? Do you think it's necessary to have somebody pushing things forward, or do you think the community continue to propel?
I think the issue with, a lot of times there's leading man syndrome. And, you kind of have an operational risk when you have this figurehead that, might be trying to balance their ego with their portfolio. And, it is crypto. Like, you look at Sam, SPF, and how he's just flying off the handle on the timeline saying whatever the hell he thinks. It can really just end things very quickly for you. And, I don't like to speak for LeFou because he's just, like, I can't speak for him. He's such a genuinely amazing person. Like, the world peace meme is not a meme. Like, he's honestly just wants to leave the world a better place and essentially just leave his legacy on the timeline. So I think, I'm not worried about it. Like, we've been here a long-ass time. We've been memeing, and I don't think anyone's tired of making the memes. So I don't think we're going anywhere.
Yeah, there's definitely the financial incentive to continue to push it forward. So I'm excited to see how things are going, and we'll circle back more. But I wanted to throw a question over to you, Ray. When we're talking about keeping content relevant, keeping the community pushing things forward. When it comes to memes, how do you seek to keep things relevant with younger generations, especially? I think that's something you've continued over now decades, which is incredible. How do you stay ahead of the puck?
I think it's not about age, right? Usually, but people who say that is because they're old. Yeah, but I think it's more about how you continue to update yourself. I think Elon Musk, like, meme game is better than most of the guys here, right? It's because he read a lot, he consume a lot, he understand the culture, right? So for us, on one hand, we try not to just create more memes, right? Because we believe that it would be better to become the platform, to become the infrastructure, instead of just become a content creator. We support a lot of the content creators, but we don't want to become one of the content creators. So, and zoom out, I think this is also one thing that we've learned from NICAD after 16, 17 years is memes comes and go, right? But meme as a category stays. I think in the past, no one actually cared about what meme is. Oh, it's just for some funny pictures, right? Most of the brands, they won't use meme as a part of the marketing. But right now, most of the brands, they understand the power of meme. They actually hire some guys to make memes for them and stuff like that, and especially in Web3, because other than memes, right, there's nothing that crypto people are actually building, right? So that's why most of the projects, they make memes other than build products. By the way, this is a joke. I don't know why you don't laugh. Yeah, but again, I think memes is very interesting in a way that is a form of communication without saying too much. At the same time, if you understand it, then you're within our circle. I think that closeness, that within a group of people, I think that's what makes memes interesting. Yeah. For example, if you send a meme to your mom and she doesn't know it, I think that means that, okay, she's like old generation, right? But if you send it to your friends, they know it, then you know that, okay, we're tight, right? We're buddies, right? And that's why we have to keep understanding what is the latest meme is. Right? For example, there are all this like new social app coming out every single day. I think most people, the default expression will be, oh, I saw this before, it didn't work, right? That's why they get obsolete, right? So the way that we work at NICAD, at Memeland, right, is, oh, this is new, this is hot. Oh, how come it catches the attention of the people? Maybe we should download it, maybe we should check it out. Maybe we should understand the story behind that memes. I think that's maybe one of the reasons why we kind of stay relevant. But at the same time, we also believe that some OG memes, they actually have a very, very long-lasting value. For example, Hide the Penguin Haro, like Dodge, like a Pepe. Right? I think all these memes, whether it's like Web 2, Web 3, they still are very, very relevant, even though they're very old. Yeah, so to me, I think meme is kind of like cars, right? There are new cars making every single day. There's some really, really good cars. But at the same time, some vintage cars, right? They hold their value better than most of the new cars, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I was actually trying to, saw my 90-year-old grandparents recently. I was trying to explain to them memes and show them some, and it is interesting to see some of the generational differences that, it's like you kind of get it, but there is something really special about, having that unique sense of familiarity amongst your friends and generations. Would like to also kind of touch on interoperability too. You launched, I'm not sure who launched Meme exactly. Was it your team
We're a
behind?
contributor.
A contributor. All right.
Just to cover our aspect, we're a contributor.
Contributor to Meme, contributor to Pain. Did you have any, contributions towards which chain you're launching these on, and how, because Meme was on ETH, now Pain is on Sol. So how do you, what was the choice behind that, and where do you see that going for
To me, we always think from the user standpoint. We actually don't care too much about which chain, because at the end of the day, I think most of the end users, they don't care about whether it's Visa card, MasterCard, as long as you can pay, right? So I think it's kind of like that. I think for Meme Coin, we launched it because we launched it on ETH, because at the time Memeland was built on ETH, right? So most of our community is on ETH. Yeah, so for Sol, it's a meme coin. When we talk to the Harold's team, our Solana Foundation is actually very, very supportive, right? So and also they have a lot of tools that a lot of people understand how to use it. These days they have like Moonshot, they have like all these like apps that can allow you to buy meme coin very easily, right? And you don't have that for ETH, for Bitcoin, right? That's why the Harold's team, they chose Solana. So I think at the end of the day, most people, they don't care about the tech stack. They care about whether it's useful or not. Right, and I think for us, we are kind of like agnostic in that way, right? But to me, I think maybe different products, different IP, different memes, different anime. Maybe they have like different choices. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I just hear we only have a few minutes left, so I'm just gonna save two last questions for you, Starlordy and Hills. Starlordy, on the same note of interoperability, you've launched. Only one started on ETH, and then since you launched a project, same project on Ordinals, how do you see interoperability between the two? How do you see the future and things continuing to develop in this multi-chain world, which is something that us at Magic Eden, we're along the same vision of all chains, all assets being supported. So how do you see that direction for Only One? Any closing thoughts?
I think the medium is the message. I think what I learned from entertainment is that the medium itself builds certain types of, or attracts certain types of creators and builders and certain type of users. So, for instance, Bitcoin for me was really important for us to go into because Bitcoin is forever and it has a different type of kind of philosophy behind it, a different type of holder base. And so for us, the concept was more like preserving our IP forever. So I was thinking, like, if the company stopped operating, how do you make it live forever? You just put it on Bitcoin, And then ETH is where we might have our experiences because it's more of like a software platform, So I also agree with Ray. I think in the future it'll be agnostic. Nobody cares if they're using HTML or Java or, HTML5 or, JavaScript or whatever. So I think all the builders in the space will just create different experiences we can enjoy.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And Hills as well, interoperability between like NFTs and runes. I mean, we have like the fungibles coming into the puppet space. Just kind of curious, like, what are your thoughts on that in terms of interoperability? Do you see that as something that was a short-term play that the community made, or do you think that's something that has more longer-term value for puppets? And any closing thoughts also, since I know we're at time.
So essentially, I'm not really worried about the long-term vision because, I mean, not to punch down, but we are on chain. So, I mean, sorry. We're all here for Bitcoin, right? Sorry. So going back to IP, we actually did not, within the community, a community member launched Pups Token. Right. So Farmer Joe launched Pups Token. I don't want to really speak on his behalf, but I think it's been amazing because, like you were speaking about what Murad said, basically it's allowed all these people to have a little fractional piece of our community and be able to go and use the LoRa's, to use the AI to make their own memes and be included. We, cognitively set up a Discord to just literally include everyone, all of the derivatives. I mean, there's 1 trillion derivatives now. So my goal is to be just as open as humanly possible and let as many people come into the community as you want. Like, I kind of always just say, put on the fucking puppet. Like, if you want to be a puppet, be a puppet. Like,
I love this. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for your time today. And Tim, do you mind if we take a quick photo before we exit the stage?
Thank you.
Okay, might have you take it.